Hello, everybody. It's a 5 o'clock shadow on this Wednesday, July 19th. And we are going to be hopefully chatting with S.A. Cooper about his book, Community Service Escape from Little Bighorn Preambles. And hopefully also as well, Ronald Mouskaski about his book, Sector 7. Both are on Fun My Comics. Right now I am waiting for, hey Aqua, waiting for them. Oh, sorry, you're not seeing it. Okay, hold on. You might have to scroll down the channels a little. It is under voice channels. Okay, so we're just waiting, as I said. As soon as he gets here, we will make it so you can see him. Okay. Okay, let me. Hopefully you. I'm not even sure if you're in my chat at this point. If you were my. Oh, there we are. Hey, telepathic. Oh, there we go.
Hey.
There we go. How are you today? Let's let everybody see you. There we go.
All right. Is that better? Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Uh,
we
Audio
are
problem. Hold on.
we are live, so
Let me find
just
out.
um
Uh,
do you got my YouTube channel? I'm not sure whether you want to see the chat or
testing,
not.
testing, testing, testing.
Yeah, you're working fine.
Output device. Speaker. All right. Here we go.
Oh, can you
Hear me
hear
now?
me? Oh, yeah, I've been able to hear
Yeah.
you the whole time. Have you been able to hear me?
No, 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 no. For some reason, it chose my Yeti as my output device as well as my input device.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No, no, it is not. So, all right. Sorry, I'm such a noob with Discord, man. I
No.
usually avoid it like the plague. So.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Well, I could have easily brought you on with StreamYards. I've had my first couple people I had to do that, because they were one wasn't super familiar with Discord, although they had
Mm-hmm.
one, and then my second person that I brought on didn't even have anybody, didn't have Discord. So it's like
Right.
I just with the StreamYards, I just set it up. I don't go live with it. I just you do that
Mm-hmm.
without live. Like I said, I use my OBS, stream it through there because it's easier to set up that way, and then I can have
Right.
all my scenes or whatever. And then I just
Right.
I have a browser thing for Discord to
Mm-hmm.
show people.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
No biggie.
I'd say it makes it fairly easy, and that way anybody who wants to come on to my stream, all they have to do
Mm-hmm.
is go into my Discord and click the on air. And yeah, sure,
Oh.
yeah, you might get an idiot from time to time, which I'm lucky I haven't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
um, but I can usually do something about that fairly fast if I try, and then I have
Right.
some mods around too in Discord that can sometimes do stuff too. But anyways, we're not here to talk about me and how I do my stuff. We're here to talk about you and your book, Community Service Escape from Little Bighorn Preambles. Did I get
Yeah.
that
It's a
all
big.
right?
Yeah. 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 It's a. I mean, it's a pretty complicated name, but I try to simplify it so many times, and I just can't do it.
Yeah.
All the information is needed, you know.
Yeah. Aqua saying, did you move your PC setup or is it just mirrored? Somehow it seems to be mirrored. Everything seems to be backwards.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. Normally it's
Weird.
not backwards. But of course, you
Hmm.
have a book going on Fun My Comics. And
Yes, I do.
so we're
Hmm.
here to get to know you a little bit, get to know your campaign, all that
All
wonderful
right.
stuff. And
I'm here to be known. There you go.
and we'll go for hopefully about an hour. I know you said you got something at 6:30, which is why I
Yep.
chose to put you on first. I double booked
Hmm.
myself today.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Because as you remember last week when we were talking sort of on Hero Shack's channel with Chris, I
Hmm.
invited you to
Yeah.
come on because of not being able to get a hold of Sector 7. Well, I took your
Right.
advice and looked them up on Twitter
Hmm.
using that and got in touch with them there. And then they're like, you're both in touch. You DM me at a little bit around the same time. It's like, oh no, I've got them both coming on. It's like,
Oh,
crap.
those guys are good. They're good guests to have. So
So it's like,
they got great campaign.
So what do I do? Okay. We'll push them back to 6. Since, like I
Hmm.
said, remember you saying about somewhere at 6:30, and we'll have you on first, and then them.
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
first time
Got
doing a double
church
guest.
squire practice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. So I guess what got you into comic books? We should be the first
Um.
question.
Well, I'm a little odd in that got into hero fiction before I got into comic books. It specifically the Bible. And the hero narratives, you know, are pretty much everywhere in culture. And the Bible was like my first hero fiction. You know, Samson, David. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
Jesus Christ. You know, just you know, the whole. You know, it got me used to superheroes. I mean,
yeah.
nobody can tell me Samson wasn't a superhero. Okay.
I would agree with you on that. Very much so.
Right.
Well,
So,
being Cross Comics, comic company is biblical,
right. Yeah. Right.
based. So, that's
Hmm.
sort of what inspired me too.
Yeah. Well, and then I saw the movies and the television show before. You know, before I saw you know, comics itself. You
Yeah,
know,
like super.
Batman back in the day. You know,
Yeah,
my
super.
favorite was Incredible Hulk, though.
Oh, the live action or the cartoon?
Oh, the live action. But I also saw the motion comics. Before I ever saw comics, I saw the motion comics that
Oh,
were like television shows for a little while.
okay.
Um, so they like animate like Jack Kirby, you know, move it around the screen, you know.
Yeah.
That was really my first comics with those, and then I actually got actually saw comics and got them in my hands when I was about is somewhere around 1986. Before then, you know, my parents and my aunt who took over for them were kind of like anti comics, you know,
Ah,
and so when I finally got my hands on it, you know, it's been my lifelong passion since, you know.
yeah. That almost mirrors me a little bit. I of course got
Right.
into the superheroes through Super Friends and stuff like that.
Well,
Watching the Incredible
the
Hulk.
Dukes of Hazard was probably one of my first superhero shows.
Oh yeah, Dukes of Hazzard, favorite all-time show. Next, Knight Rider and the A Team.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah, and my mom bought me some Christian Archies actually to start trying to get me to read. And
Hmm. Christian Archie's. Oh, my, how they have fallen.
yeah. Well, this was they were done by Spear Comics. They got
Okay.
the license to do it. There's only
Yeah.
like 10 of them in total. So, but it was done by a
Well,
guy named.
I also got probably my first comic books I ever had in my hands were probably Chick comics.
Oh yeah. I've had those too. Yeah, and the first, like I said, the handful of Archies, which got me into reading regular
Hmm.
Archies, and then I'm going to the comic book store eventually, and it's like, oh,
I,
Superman comics, Batman comics.
I did do the Phantom comic strip. That's
Yeah,
right. Uh, I was obsessed with the Phantom comic strip for a little while.
yeah,
So.
yeah, and then it's like, oh, well, there's no Christian comics, Christian superheroes. I should make Christian superheroes.
Hmm.
So what is I guess, your favorite hero?
Uh, that I haven't created.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, I guess Captain America was always my he was my jam.
Yeah,
Um, I just I just love the idea of someone whose whole entire mindset was protect. You know, uh, it was like he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't violent until he had to be, and then he was very very capable. You know,
yeah,
meeting it out. But his primary weapon was a shield. You know, I mean the idea that granted he could use it offensively, very effectively, but for the most part he was like, he was there to stand in the gap. There's something very Christological about that.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, and the fact that he remembers what it was like to be weak and helpless, and that in his mind, in his core being, he's still that shrimpy guy who wished he could do more.
Yeah,
And so as long as they wrote him that way, he was my favorite character.
yeah.
You know, and
And
so you can imagine what Hell Hydra was to me when that happened.
oh yeah, yeah. Um, favorite villain?
Favorite villain? Oh man, so many, so many.
Yeah, and of course that aren't yours.
That aren't mine. That aren't mine. I got some hellacious villains, I'll tell you. All right, all right. All right. My favorite villain would probably be Magneto,
uh,
just
that's
because
a
he's so emotionally complicated. I mean,
yeah,
he's depending on where he is at what time he is, he's either a hero or a villain.
yeah,
Um, but he always sees himself as the hero. But as long as his goals are aligned with the heroic side, then he'll go that way. But at the moment that his goals are not aligned, then he's as sinister as anybody. Just as determined. The determination on him is just amazing.
yeah,
Because he saw the darkness that's in mankind's heart. And he's never forgotten that lesson. And
yeah,
so, it's I kind of like my villains to be emotion or complicated. I don't like them to be like one note. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I get
not not
that
not
part.
not to the degree that they're doing today, where they're making every villain like basically depending on your point of view, good. No, I like the villain to be a villain,
Yeah,
but I want their reasoning to be a
somewhat
lot
sound.
more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
you got agents of chaos like Bullseye, who's just like he's there to, oh, point me in a direction, I'll kill him.
yeah,
Just point me in a direction. But I mean, or the Joker, who's just an agent of chaos and nihilistic.
yeah,
But I just like my villains to have some complexity to them.
yeah. Some
Uh,
depth.
right, right.
Uh,
Or somebody like Doctor Doom, who's like in his own head, he's actually benevolent. You
yeah,
know.
very much. How did you? Well, I got asked how you got into comics, but what made you decide to create your own comic book?
Well, the villain turn that the comic book industry took was a big impetus for me. In that, especially Hell Hydra, But I got out of comics. I got a bad taste in my mouth, and I left comics for a little while after that. And just the idea that somebody in editorial of Marvel could think that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, just like I just walked away for a little while, and then I tried to come back, and it was Marvel Now, and everything. I mean, they had just swapped everything out, and nothing
Yeah.
was recognizable.
And
And
for you, it was
I mean,
more.
the movies kind of, yeah, the movies came out, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, I remember how much I love comics, and I went in the comic shop, and nothing. There
Yeah.
was nothing of
Yeah.
of what I remembered,
Yeah. I
and
guess for you, it was more at that point. Marvel. Now go away.
yeah, yeah, it's like, yeah, Marvel Now, go away, is especially what it was. But I mean, it's just that it was just I was just getting an idea of what was happening where these creators were like, well, we changed these things, and if you don't go along with it, then something's wrong with you. I saw that in 2016 Ghostbusters, and I thought that was
Oh,
a sea
that was
change, and so.
horrible. Hey, Sketchy.
Well, recognized it as a sea change that it was. I was like, this is new. We've never seen this before. Where somebody will put out a movie and it's like it's there's a onus on you to like it and support it, or there's something wrong with you. That was new, and so when I got try to get back in comics and realized that same thing was happening over there, with all these creators like bad mouthing people, and they all seem to hate the same guy. This guy called Diversity in Comics, and so I went and checked him out, and went down the rabbit hole, wound up in CG, and then the idea occurred to me, because so many people were like, I've never been in comics before, and I wrote this and found an artist, and this is the first comic, and it's like, wait a second, I'm a writer, I've got all these scripts, I've got all these concepts in my head that I've been developing over the course of decades now, and I had one guy in particular that I was really proud of. At that time he had a gravity power, and he had like the crystal arm, and I wasn't sure how he got it, but I kind of like I dug the idea, and then I had a friend of mine die. He was a veteran of the Vietnam War,
Sorry
and
to hear that.
yeah, it was lung cancer. It was Agent Orange probably had something to do with it. The speed in which it took him, but I always thought that he was a very distinguished looking gentleman, and so I was like, what would he look like as a superhero? So I went like drawing him, and then I was like, well, I love Captain America. Let's put some stars and bars on him, and then I came up with the drawing and looked at him, and holy crap, I was like, I got something here,
Yeah.
and then all these concepts that I'd had all these years seemed to fit together like puzzle pieces, and suddenly I had a universe, and I had a concept, and I had before long I had a actual script.
Oh, that's good. So
And
that sort of answers, I guess, my probably next question. How did you come up with your
mhm,
character? What was the inspiration and
yeah,
all that? So what do I?
right.
If anybody has any questions in the chat, of course, feel free. Trying to think of a question since you got my one question ad.
Well,
Well, I guess.
there's another inspiration. There was another inspiration.
Okay.
I'm a history buff, okay, and the founding of this country is such a beautiful story. It's never happened in the begin, never happened in the world history, where a country basically took all the aspects of the best philosophical aspect of the rest of the world, and spit out all the bones of all the mistakes that were made, and came up with a document as perfect as our Constitution. And so the idea, is that I wanted my guy to remember those days, to remember those first days that this country took its infant steps, and have him be like right in the middle of all that, and that way, it's like, how would that guy who remembers or was in the room when the Constitution was signed, how would he deal with a state that's run amok and has taken away the freedoms of its citizens? How would a guy like that deal with it? And so that was in 2020, and I have to say that script has gotten pretty eerie over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't want to get too channel struck, but that's part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so give me a sec here. I'm gonna go black for a second here because I'm gonna take my camera off, and I'm gonna bring up your campaign so we can start to go over that Discord.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
Let's see. Now I need to actually get it in a different way. So, community service, escape from Little Bighorn preambles. A forgotten hero comes out of retirement for one last mission into a death trap in a country that has banned its heroes. You root for the criminals.
There you go.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And of course, you have a video here. And
Yep.
I know you sent that to me. I did not load it up, but we'll go over. We'll play the video in a bit. So
All right.
I guess we'll for the first 100 backers get this amazing print of Colonel Ironside and Genuine Comics American Bliss by
Yep.
Pau Roderick and Mike Barusco's Comics. Oh, that
Mika from Barbusco Studio or Barbusco Comics. Yeah.
Let me as I go with that, I want to be able to see.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure I can see the chat in case anybody says anything. So obviously a lot of this is your cover, I guess here. How many covers?
That's one of two. I've got 2 covers.
Okay.
That's the Uncle Sam Wants You variant. So
Cool. Joshua says, "Wait, Rick, once you go black, you can never go back." How many pages in the book?
32 planned.
32 for story wise, or?
Yep. 32 story wise, and probably some other stuff added on.
So you of course are known as telepathic rabbit, right? Or bunny.
Telepathic bunny.
Bunny. For anybody that doesn't know, so nearly 200 years. So I guess who are the people? Can you see this picture?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
say who these
that
guys
is
are,
the
maybe?
Well, Ironside's before he was forcefully retired, which is an incident that's like the defining incident of this book. He had gathered around him like representatives of powered representatives of all 4 branches of the government. So, he had a Marine, had a Navy guy, had a Air Force guy, and he had a Army guy, and they called themselves the Freedom Five.
Okay.
But he pretty much kept a core group of 5, and as one was as one was either killed or retired, he would just replace them with somebody new. So at this time, this was the lineup that he had, and they'd been pretty solid except for one rookie, the guy on the end that seems way too serious.
Okay, both of them look a little serious on the end. The black guy and the guy in red.
Well, that's Black Thunder. He is, let's just say he's not amused. He is the only survivor of a program run through the Tuskegee Institute to increase to try to increase someone's powers. He was the only survivor of the program, but he's he's really powerful, but very jaded. Very jaded about the world. So
Yeah.
interesting character.
So I take it the guy in the middle is your guy Ironside at a younger age.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's before the incident that retired him. Yeah.
Okay. And what sort of powers does he have? Like, is he Superman? Is he Batman? Something else?
He's something else. He had a touch gravity field back then, where anything his personal gravity field made him denser than normal human, which people thought he was bulletproof. So that's why one of the reasons they called him Ironsides. But he anything he touches, he could change the gravity of. So he could lift things without needing leverage or anything like that. So
Yeah.
he didn't have that problem. He could jump in long distances, and he had a hell of a punch. But he was pretty much one of the more powerful beings in the world, and he was written into the Bill of Rights as the protector of power people in America. As protector, i.e., policeman of power people in America. So,
Yeah.
but he had a constitutional mandate, and they couldn't touch him. So, he had died and resurrected 9 times.
Ooh.
Each time it's somebody slightly different. So he died from his country like 9 times. And everybody that came back, every changed person that came back, they died for their country. So and so when he got retired, he was told that the crystal that they tried to turn him into crystal so he couldn't resurrect, but the person that they had control over rebelled against the programming and broke the machine before it could completely transform him. And but they told him that the crystal damaged his regeneration, so he's now going to age. But he ages slower than normal. But he's about in this picture there, he looks like he's in his 60s, but he's actually well over 200 years old.
Okay. Cool. Sounds.
But 50 years, he was in part of the intelligence apparatus. At least they told.
Yeah, and that's the signature. That's.
But this is the agency that they created. When they took away his mandate, they put a federal agency in its place called the Federal Express Regulatory Agency. So.
I got it. Hey, Devil Flyer. He says 5 o'clock shadow. What the hell? Hey, if you look back at my thing, I had a 5 o'clock shadow before I knew about you. I just bring it back once a week for doing interviews.
Yeah. Ran a foul Rex. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But so it was 50 years. He's behind a desk. He's walking away from crimes going on, and not being a hero, and just does his job. And he realizes over the course of a few incidences that they're no longer listening to him, and he goes and confronts his boss man. His boss man's some pipsqueak they stuck over him, to handle him. And he just tells him, he's like, "Oh, you're a dinosaur. I don't even send your reports up the channel anymore. We do it all by computer now."
Yeah.
And so Ironsides, takes that news, goes back to his office, just writes out a resignation letter, walks back in there, and he grabs the little pipsqueak in the front shirt, lifts him up, puts him up against the wall. "Next time you run a simulation, your computer runs a simulation, do one on me. You'll find it informative." He lowers him back down and hands him his resignation and walks out. So
sounds like you got a little bit of the Incredibles in there. There's also sounds like some aspects of 1984.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's a little aimless for a while. He's just ruined. Just burned through 50 years of his life. But he starts walking home, and he decides to intervene for the first time in 50 years, and his hand moves, and he finds out that he's been going everything one-handed for 50 years. He's been couldn't see out of his eye for 50 years, and then suddenly he uses his power, and he discovers his hand moves, and so he realizes they lied about that too. And and so into this, they decide to try to take him out, and the guy that's sent to take him out happens to be one of the former Freedom Five, who's been undercover for 50 years on his orders, and but he doesn't remember because he had his memories removed. And so this guy tells him, "I'm close. I'm close to discovering everything. I'm close to seeing the guy behind everything. 50 years I've been working this, and they're finally going to let me in, but I have to destroy the program that I pushed through Congress called Community Service. I have to destroy my mentor, and I have to kill my best friend, and that's the price of admission, to prove his loyalty, and and he can't, he can't do it without trying something, and so the one person he thought could go in there and maybe get those people out is Ironsides, and so he tells him, he's supposed to be killing him, he's supposed to be murdering him, but he's like, I'm gonna interrogate him to see how much he knows before I kill him, and so he does this entire conversation where he tells him everything, and then they proceed to blow up his building, with Ironside still in it. So, but he survives, and so now he's going to intervene. The place that they're going to do it is that last panel there is a place of a battle. The community service is there to clean up the battle, what remains of the dock that they destroyed. And they're calling it Little Bighorn because everybody's going to go in, they're not going to come out.
Cool. Hey, Massive Panda, what's going on is I'm just talking with S.A. Cooper, creator of Community Service, Battle at Little Bighorn?
It's Escape from Little Bighorn.
Escape from Little Bighorn Preambles.
Yeah. See, the overarching name of the comic is Community Service. This arc, this 3-book arc, is called Escape from Little Bighorn. It's all about the same incident. And this is the first of 3 preambles, articles, and amendments. And the 3 parts of the Constitution.
And so. Massive, you might know him as Telepathic Bunny. He's been in chat in a whole bunch of different places.
Yeah.
And I think I remember from Chris's, you said you're doing some sort of calendar or whatever.
Yeah, I've got. I decided to show Ironsides instead of the Bikini Babes. Just zig whenever the people zag. So this is young Ironsides, and this is and the next picture is kind of like the old Ironsides. So. Yeah. So it's just it's just having fun. That's 6 a.m. sticker right there, chibi sticker. So
yeah, and you get this sticker if people get this campaign up to 6,000. Everybody gets the chibi sticker.
Right. I am considering just including that with everybody's order anyway.
And this is looking at it, just scrolling through, lots of good artwork here. Are you, well, obviously you're the writer, are you the artist, or?
This is Ed and Mika from Barbusco Comics.
Okay.
It's the colorist and the artist, duo.
Okay.
But, I got a couple, like, pieces by Arksider, and, I do have some, like, on that poster, Xevious worked on that. Which the lettering and Xevious came up with the logo. Yeah, that poster right there.
Oh,
He came up.
the Ironside one.
Yeah, yeah, he did the lettering and he did some digital effects on that one. He also came up with the logo.
Cool, cool, cool.
He also created the FERA seal. So
Yeah.
he did a bunch of work on my campaign.
Oh, that's good. And so, we have $10 for the artist signature.
Yeah,
Artist and writer signature. Is that just like
yeah.
on a piece of paper mailed to you? Is digitally
It's
sent to
gonna
you?
be on the books. It's gonna be on the books. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's the book with the signature on it, or is that an
Well,
addition?
what we'll probably wind up doing is I'll probably have a place in the book where they'll maybe sign stickers and we'll put them into the book. I don't know. We were still working out the logistics of it.
Oh, okay.
Just I probably wind up mailing them to these people or meet them someplace neutral and
Yeah,
get them to sign it. Greg Bowe's just down in South Carolina,
yeah,
and Luke's at cons all over. So
yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to hook up. Hero Con is about less than 2 hours from me, so
Cool, cool, cool. Where is HeroCon again?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. I'm in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So, although
Yeah,
I ask
yeah.
where it is, I somewhat in some ways I have no idea what I ask.
Right, right.
Unfortunately, my geography, American geography, is not the greatest. But then
Well,
again,
that's fine.
your Canadian geography is probably not the greatest either.
My Canadian geography really sucks.
Yeah.
I kind of know where Vancouver is, and that's because it's near Seattle. So you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm nowhere near Vancouver.
Well, I kind of know where Toronto and Vancouver is,
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
and Nova Scotia. I pretty much know where Nova Scotia is. You know.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm actually near Toronto. I'm about an hour's drive away.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty much near the heart of the wokeness in Canada. You know. Well,
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm about an hour and a half away from the Buffalo border.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty much near Niagara then.
Yeah. I'm about an hour away from Niagara Falls.
Hmm.
So $10 also gets you a digital copy, and of course these prices are U.S.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Fura at files. I don't. What is
FERA files, the federal organization I just mentioned.
Oh,
FERA, the Federal Expressive Regulatory Agency, and this is their dossiers on the characters. Yeah, it's like world building and has some short stories in there. So
okay.
it's probably going to be added to. I don't know exactly what I'm going to put in there, but you get a cloth badge with it.
Cool.
With the seal. That'll come with the. But we're still formulating what it's going to look like.
I was gonna say I was just gonna describe it as like a Who's Who or Marvel Universe type thing.
Yeah, similar. It's going to be world building information.
Cool.
You know, my world has a lot of terms that people might need a little dictionary to know what the terms are.
Yeah.
Maybe a little history of stuff. So. Because this is a brand new universe, and so you're introducing people to it.
Yeah,
so.
People got to get to know it. Yeah, I get that. I'm doing the same thing. JR's here. He says it's blasphemy to live in Hamilton and describe it as close to Toronto. Toronto is close to Hamilton, not the other way around. Well, it's actually not that blasphemous, JR.
Yeah.
I live here. We Hamiltonians do it all the time because unfortunately more people know of Toronto than Hamilton. Because it is, like the whatchamacallit, the capital city of the province.
There was a comedian named Greg Proops, and he used to say, he's like, Well, no matter how bad things are in Canada, we always have this saying: "At least we're not Quebec." So.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, like well, heck, there's been a few movies and other things that um have said that they were like in Toronto when they were in Hamilton, and I'm like, "Urgh."
No. Okay.
That'll
Gotcha.
get a Hamiltonian mad when you call us Toronto.
I imagine so. I imagine so. Yeah. Not been impressed with things I've seen some from Toronto, to be honest. So.
Yeah, it's sort of all right, I've been there a few times, getting around,
Hmm.
Rebel. Well, I was gonna say Rebel News is in Toronto. Yeah, I think Rebel News is in Toronto, which is the main Canadian independent news company that we have here.
Hmm. Right. Right. Well, Jordan Peterson came from Toronto, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, got that going for you.
yeah, yeah. And then we have a lot of actors from this area too. Over in
Hmm.
Burlington, which is a town over. Um, what's his name? John Jim Carrey came from there.
Mm.
JR says, my uncles, aunts, and cousins live there. One of them works for the Tiger Cats. Ah, cool, cool, cool. Eat 'em raw! Oski wee wee, Oski wawa! Okay, so next up we have, I guess, the book for $25.
Hmm.
The book only,
Yep.
Greetable the Uncle Sam cover.
Yeah.
So I guess you just get the book for that, and I guess oh it says and writer to sign the copy as an add-on tier.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so you would add the one tier that's up above to get it signed.
Yeah. Well, basically, because they've got a a checkout basket, you can mix and match, or you don't have to necessarily get everything that's in like a certain tier. You don't have to
Yeah,
get a combo tier and get
yeah,
stuff that maybe you don't want. Everything's just like you can individualize what you're buying.
yeah, which is good. And then
Yeah.
this is the wraparound cover. It says here
This
20,
Iwo Jima homage wraparound cover. Yeah.
and that's the same price, and you can add the signature on as well for $10. So
Yeah.
that's and then what's shipping
That's
what's shipping like for you or
well. I made a mistake on the shipping. Right now, it's going to be it's. There's no way to change it because people have started buying the tiers. So I was going to set it at flat rate at $10, but right now it's set at 5.
ah
So
so you
I'm not.
you got to take a bit of a hit.
I'm going to take a huge hit probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where. $5 for just inside the states isn't bad. Is it going to be $5 everywhere? Like even like say Canada
Yeah.
or
Yeah. It's
Australia?
well. Yeah. I'm probably going to get Critical Blast to fulfill it,
Uh-huh.
and I probably he's got some mojo that he does. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm probably gonna take a bath on it. Uh,
Yeah.
I just
I understand.
I made a mistake. But I thought I had everything set at 10, and evidently I went and I changed something
Well,
last minute, and then you had to go back and reset everything 10,
could you
and
not
I didn't do it. So
hide these ones that are there and then remake them? That way, only certain ones you get hit on. You know.
well, the only way I could do that is refund.
No, 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 no.
And
You wouldn't have to refund these ones. You just like hide them and then recreate the tier, but make sure you get the $10 shipping on it.
yeah,
Well, I'm not sure how.
well,
I'm not sure whether you can hide it like you can on Indiegogo, a tier.
I don't know.
and just
I haven't
recreate
really looked at it.
and just recreate. I'm just thinking so you don't get too much of a hit.
Right.
You know don't
Well,
go.
at this point, with unless I have a really huge influx, it's not too bad.
Yeah, true.
But this comic takes off, I am definitely gonna be in trouble. So definitely looking into options. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do know that the shipping is too low.
yeah,
But people can jump on right now and get that cheap shipping. I'll be stuck with it. So
yeah. Get it while the iron's hot, as they say. And so
there
for
you go.
then
Get it
you
while the iron sides is hot. There you
yeah.
go. Anyway,
Up next is of course $45 for both covers.
yeah, and a
Uh,
digital.
Oh, and a digital. Oh, that's good. And again, so if you purchase the sign, do you just get it on one book, or do you have to purchase it twice to get it on both books?
No, the sign on tier is for any book you purchase. So
So if you bought this plus the signing tier, it go on both
yeah,
books. Okay, oh, that's good.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I'm probably doing everything ass backwards and making a lot of mistakes, but I
yeah,
mean, this is my first campaign.
yeah,
It's a learning, it's a learning thing.
yeah,
Nobody teaches you anything around here. They just like tell you after it's already put up and oh, you made this mistake. Well, okay, you could have told me this when sent it in to be approved.
yeah,
But okay, it is what it is.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dealing with it.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good. And of course, you have the $300 create an expressor. What's an
Yeah,
expressor?
that is the name for powered people in my. That's one of those terms. It's one name for powered people in my world.
Okay, so
See,
you
there's these. Yep.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, there's these little microscopic machines in my world from a terraforming event before the world began. Some people think that's how the world began. But it's in every fiber of every being, and it's the reason why there's powers in this world and not in our world. Um, but when these things get turned on in people, they run off of people's souls. Okay, that's why they're called soultrons. But when they're turned on, and somebody has a power that's like an expression of the soultrons that are inside of them, so that's why they're called expressors.
Okay. And okay, somebody pays to create an expressor. What happens after that? I guess they get to name them, choose powers.
Yeah,
Uh,
help come up with a backstory and everything. And this is going to be a character in the book. This is not going to be a cameo. It's not going to be somebody in the background. This is going to be a character in the book. I'm
so
actually holding the last half of the book, so whoever creates their character will immediately see them in the book.
so if they so it's not gonna the character's not just gonna be in this book, could be in other books as well.
Yeah, could be a recurring recurring character from now on.
Uh,
Some of the best characters that we've seen in comics have come from supposedly one shots where somebody like created a character off the cuff and it became because I mean people like Deadpool was a complete one off of Deathstroke, the Terminator. I
yeah,
mean Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson. I mean his meant as a joke, kind of like because Liefeld always wanted to draw Deathstroke, the Terminator, so he drew his version of him,
yeah,
and the guy took off, became the Merc with the mouth, and the rest is history. But I don't consider any character throwaway, so you could have a character that becomes the most popular character, But you
yeah.
have to understand that it's going to be belonging to the book series. You will always be listed as the co-creator, but you basically sign over your.
You're
You have
right.
to. The
The
only way it
rights.
works is you sign over rights. That way it doesn't get sticky later on.
Yeah,
But but you buy the right to name and create a character, and you'll have a character in an actual comic book.
Yeah.
And so, um, if you're a creator and you don't have a comic book out, and you want to like flex your muscles and show your character creating ability, I mean, you'll have a credit on my comic
Yeah.
that you can show people and say, "This was mine. This is my character." You know.
Yeah. And of course,
But
you've got 2 of those left. So,
yeah, I got two slots,
oh, cool.
and it can be a hero, it can be a villain. I'm not saying it has to be a villain or a hero. You know, could be just a ordinary citizen caught up in everything. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah, the world's your oyster. You know.
Yeah, it's how between you and whoever buys the tiers
Yeah.
chooses to do it.
Yeah. Right. Totally.
Oh, so
I haven't seen anybody do anything that on that level. I've seen people like do cameos. I've seen people do like one shots or get killed in my comic. I've seen that one.
yeah.
Which is a little weird, but people do jump on that.
Yeah. On my
but-
last one, I had some firefighters that needed naming, so because firefighters have their name on their, the back of their. I was gonna say uniform. I guess uniform is the right word. Suit. So
Uh-huh.
I'm like, name that firefighter. They got to choose the name basically that would go on the firefighter's uniform, and
Mhm.
I did that for
Yeah.
$10 each, and hey, it sold. So that was cool.
Cool.
So now
Mhm.
that they're a part of that firefighter, the firefighter's probably never going to be seen again. But
Right. Yeah, pretty much. But this one, I'm gonna write them into my book. I mean, maybe they don't even make it out of the first book. I don't know, but
yeah,
they don't get plot armor. So yeah,
yeah. And
make sure
that's-
you write a good character.
that's a definitely an amazing tier. Some ways I'm half tempted to do it, but I'm not sure. Oh, with that one, do they also get a copy of the comic book sent to them?
Yeah, I probably should add in they get a physical copy.
Yeah,
Yeah, a copy of their choice.
yeah, because
I meant to do that. It's not listed there. I need to add that in.
yeah.
Yeah.
I figured I'd ask that. I didn't see it or not see it. It's just,
Right.
I just figured.
Yeah, I always intended for them to at least get a copy of the comic. So I mean, if you create a character, you want a copy of the comic.
Yeah, that they first appear in.
That might be why it's not selling. I don't know.
So you've got like 72 days to go on this. You're $610, and it's all or nothing for you, and you're trying to raise $5,000,
Yeah.
and you're 12% of the way there.
Mhm. Yep.
Unfortunately today I can't get anything, but probably around the end of the month I will try to at least get the digital tier. Although because
Okay. Appreciate it.
although if you still got the $5, I might go for that for one of them, because that's not so bad for shipping. For
No, it's definitely not.
especially when you add the exchange rate, because most places
Yeah.
shipping here to Canada, it's
Yeah.
almost insane, and then the exchange rate
Right.
really makes it insane.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah.
And then you have to worry about the Canadian mail getting it to you in one piece. So,
Well, I've never had any problems with that.
okay.
I'm not sure whether
I've heard horror stories, so
yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
taking
we've all heard horror
Canadian
stories.
word of it.
I think horror stories have went for both all mail systems.
Yeah. Right.
JR says, I love it. I have a complicated history with Christianity, but one thing I always love and continue to love is the Bible as literature. The Bible
Hmm.
has all kinds of literature under the sun, poetry, songs, and marvelous genre
Yeah.
literature too, like Samson. Oh, I guess he's
Yep.
listening to the early part right
Hmm.
now,
Right. Right.
since we're way further along than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Canon of Scripture. It's got
Yeah.
an incredible book.
Okay.
Incredible book.
Okay. Give me a sec. I got. I'm not sure whether. Hey, Sector Seven's in our chat.
Okay.
In my Discord. Hey. All
Alrighty.
right. Well, you can stay on for a couple more minutes to say hi if you
Mhm.
want. You know,
Yeah.
I was planning to
Well,
go to six
I'll
forty.
need to actually I need to get going. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So any last thing you want to say? The link is
Yep.
in the description. It's pinned. Um,
Hmm.
and as well as your YouTube link is in the description as well. If anybody
I
wants to go,
appreciate it.
and your Twitter
Uh,
as well.
yeah. Just do me a favor. Play the trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me
Yeah.
the on air room. Okay. Do. Okay. Let's get this right there. Trailer, and that's
Our brethren are already in the
Turn the
field.
sound.
Why stand we here idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have?
Bunny,
it.
what's up?
His life so
Man.
dear.
Not much.
Peace
Just
so
hold on.
sweet.
Ron, we're just playing a trailer for
Has to be
telepathic.
purchased at the price of chains and slavery?
It does say I can't stream
Forbidden
onto
already.
here. I don't know.
Okay. Just give a sec till this is over. We can figure it out.
Can you hear it?
I can't hear it, but I can hear you guys.
Right.
As for me, give me liberty or give me death.
Okay.
I couldn't hear it.
Well, hopefully they were. Were you guys on YouTube able to hear it? Okay, give me a sec. I just need to give you a roll, Sector.
Hmm.
So, so you can do your camera and all that.
Sounds good.
Okay, you should be able to do that now. So
Okay.
there we
I'm
go.
here.
Yeah. Well, you probably know Telepathic Bunny. He said he knows you. He's off. I double booked, so he instead of 5 that I was originally planning for you, you got bumped to 6. But I did think
Hey.
you'd matter. You would mind.
It worked out well. I've been working on homework all day.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Later, Cooper.
All right. Can be bumped by a better guy. All right.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye, Bunny.
Bye.
Okay. Well, you're Ron, right? Ronald?
No, I'm actually not. So Ron and I are partners. I thought he was coming tonight. I could text him. I probably should text
Yeah,
him.
you can. You can send him the link to the Discord. He's welcome on. It's just I wasn't sure because I know the name on the campaign is Ron, and
Yeah,
or
he put
Ronald.
it on. I think he's not the most like, and he would say this if he's not like real like tech set, so he probably assumed it just wanted his name, but it's both of our book.
Yeah,
As far as that goes, I like we've kind of uh, co-created it together. The original concept was mine, and then we've kind of just collaborated on everything ever
yeah.
since.
Okay, now I need to get things back up. Aqua said he could hear it, so I guess I got to change the name eventually on the title card, the thumbnail, to say Matt and maybe Matt and Ron because I put the name I knew.
Essentially.
Uh,
That's funny. Yeah, no, Ron. I just reached out to him, and we'll see if he ends up getting that memo.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, everybody can see. I thought they could see us. There we go. I think they can. Well, they can see me, and as long as my Discord doesn't flash off, they can see you. So this is Matt. He is part of the Sector 7 team. Um,
Yeah,
thanks for coming on. This is my first time doing two people right in a row, so normally I
that's
just
all right.
I have one person for about an hour. Well, actually, when I did my talking with before, it was an hour to 2 hours, and it was just one person. But I recently started doing my talking with program, or 5 o'clock shadow, as I call it, because trying to get my YouTube hours up for viewing. So I figured I'd do it again, start promoting people again the best I could. I'm a small channel. Not a lot of people always come by, so hopefully
Hey,
it does some good.
absolutely. Every little bit helps.
Yeah. So I guess well, right now we'll say I'll ask you. So how did you get into comics?
Well, I kind of grew up reading them. Ron's definitely more of the comic guy. I got pretty into him for a long time, but he'll tell you about artists and writers, and I'm pretty good with a lot of that stuff. If you talk to me about, sort of the Alan Moores and, Dave Gibbons, of course, partnered on Watchmen there, or Frank Miller's and all that stuff. Like I can talk about all those things, but my experience with comics was really just kind of buying them and reading them as a kid. Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, all that stuff. Just they'd have the little spinner rack at the grocery store, and I'd go in and buy them. Or I think my first like collected edition was The Death of Superman, and
Yeah.
that still holds a pretty special place in my heart. It was such a big deal to me at the time. I grew up watching like the Superboy television show
Oh,
and the Christopher Reeve movies and things like that. So it was really that was like a big deal to me as a little kid. I was like, no, they can't kill Superman, kind of thing. So
yeah.
that's kind of how I got into them. But I never really had a desire to like create one up in probably until my mid 20s. I had actually created the idea for that evolved into Sector 7 when I was like probably 17 or 18. And, created Nagara. He was my first kaiju that I came up with. And that was just a product of, I was obsessed with Godzilla and kaiju films, and I really just wanted a sandbox of my own to play in. So I kind of came up with those ideas. Originally planned it to be like a novel, and then a few years down the road, I was like, it's such a cool. I kind of got in my head that it would work better as a comic book
Yeah.
because you have those cool visuals and still have a really story focused book. And that's when I met Ron, and I asked if he wanted to get together and talk, and we ended up becoming great friends, have been ever since, and yeah, we're trying to make this happen.
Uh, so
Now,
how exactly did you two meet? Was it at a convention? Just go to high school together or something like that?
no, I was, let's see, I was working retail at the time at an Office Max, back in the print center. I used to, you know, do some graphic design work back there. We actually did some in house at the time. Now they contract it all out, but we actually did some in house graphic design back then. I'd make copies, I'd make banners, I'd fix printers, whatever that needed to be done. And he walks in one day and he was looking to get some copies made of some pages of a commission that he had done. And sure enough, I looked at them. I thought they were incredible, and I just said, "Hey, would you be interested in a project and getting together and talking about that?" So we did, and it just was like serendipity.
Cool, cool, cool. And I guess that means you are the writer on this project?
Yeah, yeah, I'm the writer, and like we we a lot of the plot like lines we've talked about together and
Yeah.
developed together kind of thing. But yeah, I do all the dialogue and
The scene setting and all that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Uh,
You know, even the character like sometimes like I would just with most of the characters or the kaiju, I would tell Ron, I'd give him like a description, and he would just knock it out of the park and do
yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. Um, Sometimes I would just give him more of an idea. There was a couple of occasions where I
Yeah.
just had more of a concept, and I wanted him to run with it, and he did a great job with that too. Our ninja character is kind of that case. Like I did tell him like I wanted him to kind of be ninja esque, a lot of cyborg elements.
Yeah.
And to have the swords, and he just took that and created something super cool with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just a good collaboration. Yes, yeah, you do a lot more of the writing. You figure out the basic ideas, and then he's of course gonna run with what you say and give you an
Yeah,
image to what you thought of.
right.
Yeah,
And yeah, and I don't want to downplay because he's contributed
yeah,
so many ideas.
and that means
Because-
a lot by him drawing it up. Because if he doesn't draw it up, you don't have a comic book, right?
Right. The not just adaptations to the monsters, like Nagara in old artwork that I had done before I met Ron. Like uh, Nagara didn't have the stinger on the end of the tail, so that was one of Ron's um, you know adaptations that he added, his own little flourishes.
Hey, John, how are you? Dillard Draws is here. He says, "Hello, Rick Piper of Cross Comics and friend." I'm not sure whether you've heard of. I'm not sure whether you've heard of John Dillard or not.
I don't. I'm not that I'm aware of, but I'm happy to.
Yeah. He's working right now with Yellow Flash on a book.
Ah,
He is a pretty good artist. He's, in fact, a great artist.
wow,
Pretty good friend of the channel and mine. I'm
that's
actually going to
awesome.
be meeting him in person in September for the first time in like 5 years of knowing him.
Very cool.
But yes, that is the real Dillard. He's actually got a wrench. Sometimes I have some fake people pretending to be other people around here.
Hey,
My channel has a lot of trolls, but they're good ones. They're not nasty, whatever. They like to joke around a lot. And sometimes they actually buy stuff. Oh. Dillard says, "Boo! Never heard of Dillard. Boo!" Oh. Okay.
Who this man?
We're trying to think of a question. If anybody in the chat has a question, feel free to ask. put forth a question as well. We welcome questions from the chat as long as they're decent ones. um, okay, I just did this before. So what made you? I think you actually answered that. What made you want to do comics? I guess, yeah. What made you want to do a comic?
Yeah, it's just I think it just goes back to my love for giant monster movies and again just wanting to create something that the fandom could kind of I'm not entirely sure why to if I'm honest I'm like oh man like I feel like we got some really cool stuff going on so I'm not sure if it's just the platform trying to get people to sign up for the funded by comic thing. I'm not sure if it's just not having a big enough audience yet,
Yeah,
or a combination, perfect storm of all those things. But yeah,
yeah,
it was really just wanting to create something for giant monster fans, for like Godzilla and Gamera fans. For most of our lives, we went starved for new content.
yeah,
And now of course, everyone's putting out giant monster, or at least it feels that way. There's
yeah,
at least probably 10 other projects I can think of off the top of my head, including the big ones, of course, being Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman. Those are all like at an
yeah,
all-time high in exposure and popularity in the U.S. I feel
yeah,
like so. Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's really where it stems from. Is just wanting to create something that I love and to share that with others.
No, John, this is not the Cyborg Captain America guy. This guy is the Sector 7 book, which is about kaiju, as he was talking about Godzilla type monsters. You know, King
I
Kong,
actually am I
Mothra.
am a cyborg Captain America though. Like I didn't specify that.
Of course, John is talking about Telepathic Bunny's book, who
Correct.
we just had on before. Um,
Yeah, I know Cooper really
yeah,
well. He's a good guy.
yeah, yeah.
One of our
I
first
had,
allies in this whole thing,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I had messaged you guys over on Fun My Comics, and you guys hadn't responded to me. And I was on another program with him last week, and I'm like, um, well, these guys haven't responded to me, so I need somebody for next week. You want to be on? and then he's,
That's awesome.
and then he is like, well, they're on Twitter. I don't know what their Twitter is. It's like, oh, it's under Sector 7 there. And he's like, so with that, I'm like, okay, I'll go look them up on Twitter. And I found you guys, messaged you. And then I end up getting double booked.
That's funny. I do apologize for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
unfortunately,
know what was that?
sometimes it's people don't look at their messages too often on Fun My Comics.
Yeah, I keep you know what it is I keep logging in and I see the number of backers hasn't moved and I get depressed.
Yeah,
Or we've actually moved out. We had folks a couple of times back at like the $100 level and then back out. So we actually dropped back down a couple of times, which was really and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to have a pity party or anything
yeah,
like that here or anything like that, but just being real, it was disheartening. Like
yeah,
this is our first attempt at this. We're not going anywhere. We want this to be a thing. Like I I know our kaiju are cool because I'm a kaiju fan. Um, I know our story is good. Um, I know this is going to be a good thing as long as we stick with it.
yeah. And sorry about that, John. He says, "Oh, sorry. I assume because of the pinned link question, what he was going to do with his profits at 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 plus." I had, of course, telepathic bunnies thing pinned, but in my YouTube messages, but I've now changed that to Sector 7 is now pinned up there.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you. We
and
appreciate
of
it.
course, that link is also in the description as well as Sector 7's Twitter. in the description for anybody that wants to follow you over on Twitter. And
Everyone go sign up and just send
Yeah.
us $1.
Yeah, yeah.
At this point, we just need the algorithm points.
yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else I can ask before we just move on to looking at the campaign itself, which means I'm probably going to have to go into my Discord and browser and change the link there so it has the right thing. So if things go wonky for a second, don't worry. We're still here.
Awesome.
Okay, let's change the browser.
Ironsides is such a cool character.
Yeah.
I love it.
We need to make sure. Take Ironside down. No, not Discord. Cancel that, and then there we go.
Hey.
And then back to here, and there we go. Okay, so of course, Sector 7 is over on Fund My Comic, and let's go up here. Sector 7. After nuclear war drives humanity to the brink of extinction, mankind builds a utopia out of the rubble. But can they stop a giant new threat? Bum, 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 bum.
Indeed. Ominous.
Yeah, I like to try and read those lines a little dramatically. Okay, so of course you are not Ron, you are Matt.
Yeah, I'm Matt. I can go. But here's the thing with Fund My Comic that every change I make, and so Ron originally put up the campaign on Fund My Comic, so that's why his name's. We actually switched over from Indiegogo, and when I was revamping the campaign, because Ron's not really like a graphic design guy, not like a social media type of graphic design person. So he did a great job in that, but it needed some work. But what I realized was every time you make a change in Fund My Comic, it has to go through the approval process again.
Oh, so lovely.
Right. So and it could only be a matter of a few hours, but we just are inexperienced with the platform. We didn't want to, I don't want to make too many changes because I want our campaign to be up for as long as possible.
Yeah, I understand that. And hold on a sec. Yes, Mother?
Just stopped in to say hi to everybody.
Okay.
Especially John, because it's easy.
In the chat?
Yeah.
That was my mother. I'm not sure whether she can't hear you on my headphones. She likes to come in and be nosy at times.
Wasn't being nosy, just saying hello.
Well, that results in the same thing. People are like, who is this crazy woman? No. I joke.
Someone just wandered into my house. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So far you've gotten 13 backers in 22 days. You've got 37 days to go, and you're trying to get to $3,700. And I know it can be obviously it's 40 pages, as I can tell from the little bit of a trailer thing that I have up there at the moment.
Yeah, we have 2 trailers. That's the second one that's up there right now.
Yeah. So we'll go down. The artwork looks phenomenal here. So kudos to Ron on that.
That one, actually, that cover right there is not Ron. It's the only piece of art on here that's not him. That we actually commissioned a special edition cover from Rob Willis, who is a industry vet. cover artist, and he produced that one for us. All the others will be Ron's work.
Okay, okay. Well, that's all right. It's all right getting commission artwork, like for. I guess this is a cover, or is this just a
Yep,
poster?
that's a cover option. There's 4 cover options actually.
Uh-huh. But yeah, well, kudos to him. That's really good. The Okay, so this is the backstory. Do you want to? Can you say it without
That's
me reading it, or?
no. I mean, honestly, it's actually really small. But if you want, I can give you like the elevator pitch version of
Yeah,
it.
that's I guess what I was going for instead of me boringly reading this for everybody. Might as well hear it
That
more.
would definitely be a slog because there's quite a bit of meat there.
Yeah.
But essentially, it starts off in Nazi Germany. This is an alternate history. The Nazis were into some weird stuff. They were into genetics and the occult and things like that. And essentially, what they did was they kidnapped this dude's family. His name was Solomon Brand, and he was a brilliant geneticist. And they forced him to create what they wanted to be this new breed of super soldier. However, the result of which the growth hormones they gave it didn't stop working, and it became monstrous, and they had to contain that. They had to. That was the first monster. That's our one you see in the cover there, Nagara. And what they realized was that this actually kind of worked out better than they had anticipated, but the problem was they couldn't control him, and that so they put him into a sort of stasis and locked him away in a facility called Sector 7. And they built a second facility. And the reason why they're kind of out of order numerically is explained, but they built Sector 6. And in this facility, they create 6 new monsters, ones that could be controlled. And then, for whatever reason, which will be revealed later, of course, but they don't. They never get unleashed. These weapons, literal living weapons, never get sent out by the Germans, and it ends how we all know it ends, with Germany losing the war and Hitler taking his own life. Fast forward a few decades to the moon landing, and if you scroll down a bit, you'll actually see some artwork of what I'm about to describe. You can see the moon there in one panel. It's just kind of showing your typical American family home.
Yeah.
But for those of you,
Hold on a
what's
second.
that?
I just want to respond to Dillard. Dillard says, I mean, you could read it in a not boring way, Rick. Of course I could. And I probably would. But, it's so much better coming from one of the creators.
So, and if you go down a little further, you'll see some astronauts, and we all know the space race took place in the heart of the Cold War, and was really just kind of like tensions were high during this period in time. And I asked myself, what would happen if the moon landing really sparked a conflict, and there was this nuclear war that happened, and that's kind of what you're seeing play out there. You actually have Neil Armstrong on the moon, and he's looking. You can see the reflection of the Earth in his helmet, and you see him shedding a tear behind the visor as thousands upon thousands of these nuclear weapons are going off back on Earth, and people are, of course, annihilated. In fact, most of the world is destroyed. And humanity's cut down from billions of people. I believe statistically, at the time there's about 3.5 billion people back then, and humanity's been cut down to a fraction of that. So we now move forward a couple more decades, and this is where our story kind of begins. Brand, who had disappeared after World War II, reemerges after the nuclear holocaust with technology that is beyond anything we dreamed of before. It revolutionizes transportation, power production, health, air, air pollution, things of those nature. It literally restructures the entire world, which was now separated into 7 colonies that were kind of fighting for a couple of years to just survive in a world that no longer had a lot of resources, because all the normal or most of the normal areas that we used to inhabit were now contaminated beyond belief. So after essentially saving humanity, Brand is kind of elderly now and has become a bit of a recluse and hires this young woman as his assistant. But she's actually quite the scientific prodigy herself. She hasn't worked, though, however, in 5 years since the death of her father from an accident on a project that they were working on, which, again, more details will emerge about that later. But, and they kind of get to know each other. Brand's become quite brash and abrasive. He's not a very friendly guy to be around. You can almost get that kind of vibe from him in those panels there, where he just doesn't look very pleasant. So, long story short, you've got this wonderful world that he's helped create. There's a new government. There's a one world government. All the colonies work together. But there's some unrest brewing, and that's really what's going to kind of become more obvious as the story goes on, and really becomes the catalyst for the sudden emergence of the monsters from World War II. These beasts are found beyond what we call the Veil, and the Veil is the imaginary line between habitable Earth and contaminated nuclear wasteland Earth.
Ah. And hello, Captain Finity. It sounds like, the colony stuff half sounds like a little bit from Pacific Rim. Not that you took from them, but,
No, actually, this actually does predate Pacific Rim. We've been working on this a long time.
Yeah.
There were some definitely some considerations to that. Obviously Pacific Rim kind of has stations or like fortresses kind of thing around certain cities, and it is a similar idea, but not necessarily
the same.
not necessarily the same way.
Yeah. And that's all right, hey, like you said, there's lots of projects out there like this, or it has been for years, like Godzilla and all that. So, nothing new under the sun, right?
That's right.
So we've got the cast here. Tetra Primrose, is that the lady?
Tetra Primrose.
Is that the lady?
That's the lady in the panels above. Yep.
Okay. So you were just talking about her, of course, Solomon Brand. Hey, Wrangler, how are you? And then, okay, we got Alice. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Alistair Lissandro.
Anything you want to tell us about him?
So he's actually the current Grand Vicar, which is a real political title if you guys want to look it up. But he is the Grand Vicar of the one world government I was talking about earlier. So he is the current political leader in our world. And he gets kind of wrapped up. So basically what's going to happen is some disasters start to occur in the colonies, and it's got people panicked and trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, he's going to be at the center of that as well as this gentleman below him, Rostislav, if I remember the spelling correctly in my head, Varkrov. He's the Supreme Navarch, which was an old, kind of like an old term for an admiral. He commanded a fleet. But in this utopian society, Varkrov commands a expeditionary fleet. They go into the Veil and they look for resources, basically old documents or artifacts and things of that nature that might be useful, but also they are conducting research to attempt to decontaminate and reclaim the land that's been lost.
Cool. Let's see, Joshua. Joshua, paraphrasing me, he says, "No offense, but this looks like a ripoff of something else." No, that's not what I meant at all, Joshua. It's natural to draw comparisons between things, so people get stuff a little easier, like you. Wrangler's busy but good. Captain Finity says, for some reason, I have no ability to describe my own story. And then we got this mystery guy here.
Yeah, he's our mysterious a mysterious villain. We've kind of left his origin or story a little ambiguous right now. I'm a guy that really likes mystique, so we're always going to kind of play him a little close to the vest. I think. I always liked. I thought the prequels kind of ruined Darth Vader a bit. I think. You know what I mean? Darth Vader was way cooler before I knew him as a whiny, snot-nosed kid. So I like the idea of just kind of playing with people, getting people a little curious, and hopefully he does that. I think he looks very cool.
Yeah, he does for sure. And then we got this Elias, although we don't have a picture. So
yeah, I don't have the art. Well, we do have artwork for him, but I don't have a profile picture for him. Ron recently he's been fighting through a little bit of a health issue. He's going to be okay, but we haven't been pushing him too hard. I've decided not to break out the cattle prod and force him to draw right now. So we just don't have a profile photo for Elias yet, but he's basically the next in line. Alistair Lissandro, who's this leader of the government, he's looking to essentially pass it on. He's been the leader for multiple decades, and he kind of recognizes the idea that eventually you need to turn it over to some new blood. So that's what he's looking to do. And Elias is that young man he's kind of taken under his wing to serve as his replacement.
Okay. So there's kaiju. There's the kaijus, of course, are giant monsters. Without giving too much away, how are regular humans going to fight these guys? Are we gonna get?
Well, that's kind of the problem. They're not. So that's kind of the conflict of the story is like they really don't have a military person. They might have like a small security force kind of thing in their cities, but not really like police, like hardcore. Not even so much as like real SWAT teams per se. Those types of things. So you might have to refresh that page. It looks like the pictures below that aren't showing up.
Yeah.
But regardless, they that's really kind of the problem is they are sort of powerless to fight back. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how they do that. And it's kind of where our because there will be monsters fighting monsters in this. So that's kind of how that leads into Nagara, who is the giant serpentine monster you see several photos. That's kind of how he gets wrapped up in this.
Okay. I guess Nagara. The other one looks frog. I'm not sure what it looks like. I was gonna say frog, but
no, you got it. So he's in the creative process. He was before I named him. He was known as the Croc Frog. So he's part crocodile, part frog in design, in inspiration.
okay, cool. So yeah, I guess there are a lot of people gonna get killed from these things attacking, or do they attack?
Oh, yeah.
Or are they gonna like just attack cities for no reason? Is there something
Well,
driving
there is
them?
a reason. yes, there will be something driving them, and yeah, so that's yes. Lots of people will perish. Unfortunately, that is the nature of giant monsters smashing cities. But yeah, our there is something behind their attacks. That one there is Devira. Her original name was actually Devora, but after I had come up with this kaiju and the name, Mortal Kombat 10, which is a number of years old now, came out and introduced a character called the apostrophe Vora,
Ah,
and and it's pronounced the same way, Devora. So I ended up changing the middle vowel sound there to Devira, just because of that reason. I didn't want to draw comparisons to Mortal Kombat.
yeah, and you don't want anybody confusing the two of you. It's not that it'd be that, not that it's hard to confuse, giant monsters and ninjas.
Yes, yes. Devora in Mortal Kombat's like an insect lady.
Oh,
She's
okay.
a little weird, but ours is not insectoid per se, but
Yeah.
definitely wanted to alleviate any comparisons.
Yeah. And then, of course, we got this one.
That's Yep, Bygone. Bygone. He's a kind of a turtle inspired kaiju, but he's very different too. He's got some worm like elements to him as well. Definitely an interesting kaiju.
Wrangler says ninjas rock. Yeah. Uh, yes, ninjas can rock. So we just let bygones be, right?
Yeah, we let bygones be bygones.
Zorog here?
Zorog, you nailed it. He is our we kind of well, obviously he's got some rhinoceros influence along with kind of
Yeah.
like a
I wasn't sure whether it was rhinoceros or horned beetle.
yeah, no, he's kind of inspired a bit by a rhino, and he's got some technological augmentations you can see there, which
Yeah.
makes him even more devastating. And we also have, as you'll see, we have two Saraga and Virex, which we have yet to reveal. We
Yeah.
kind of want to surprise folks with Virex, but
Yeah. Yeah,
we
yeah,
will,
yeah. You got to keep
have,
something mysterious for the comic books.
right. So those are kind of our kaiju that we're keeping under wraps for right now.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a lot in these 40 pages. And of course, here's cover A.
So it is a series. It's going to be about once we're done with it. It's only going to be about 4 issues. Each of the first 3 issues are going to be 40 pages, so that'll be 120 pages. And then the last issue is going to be a double size comic that will be 80 pages in length, and that will complete the series at about 200 pages total.
Okay. So, and I guess, are there any plans beyond this series for your world, or are you going to go on to something completely new?
No, I absolutely have more plans for Nagara and more adventures, but we got to get this one. Got to make this one a success first. Get this one funded and move on to the rest. We're. I plan on continuing to build the kaiju content. I've been doing some kaiju related material on my YouTube channel for Sector 7, and some other things, and we're gonna keep that rolling. I'm gonna continue to build an audience in that community. Ron is of course building his name in the comic community. He's now doing commissioned work for a gentleman. The top of my head is called File 13.
Oh, I've heard of
I
File. I've heard that somebody in the chat's called File 13.
that might be Chris Faction's book. I and Ron will probably kill me for forgetting, but he's doing the artwork for that book.
Yeah.
So he's
Speaking of Ron, has he
definitely
got
got
back
some.
to you? Speaking of Ron, has he got back to you yet?
No, no, I haven't heard from him. So he probably forgot, or he might not be actually feeling well.
Yeah,
Either way,
that's all
you know,
right.
I'm used to, we've both done shows solo,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's no
we're
problem.
pretty used to this.
These covers all look phenomenal.
Yeah, he's an amazing artist. Like, I can't believe like this didn't fund day one just on his art alone. Like, I love his work. It's
Yeah,
amazing. And then of course the Rob Willis cover is just icing
yeah,
on the cake.
yeah. Unfortunately, the biggest thing is getting out there. I'm not sure how much you guys have, but getting out there, getting people to know that you're out there. That's the biggest part of doing this. I make comics myself, so I know how hard it is to get your name out there. Approaching people
Absolutely.
dead just to go on their show and all that. Um,
Yeah, it's been such a struggle, and I'm actually I'm finishing up my master's program as we speak.
yeah,
So like all day long before I did this, I've literally been sitting at my desk just doing homework.
yeah.
Uh,
What's that
so
master's going to be in?
my master's is in literacy education. I'm actually a high school English teacher in New York.
Oh, cool, cool. You're actually pretty close to me. I was seeing, I think, up there, Buffalo, New York, or well,
Yes.
that's. I'm in Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not too far at all from us. We're in a little city called Batavia. Technically, it sits smack dab in between Buffalo and Rochester.
Ah,
Um, so we claim both.
yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that. Regular says the struggle is real. Oh, these trading cards of a couple of the characters artwork.
Yeah, actually, and I got to replace those. The trading cards we're developing are actually modeled. If anyone, like, again, just really being rooted, we want to pay homage not only to comic book history and things like that, but also to the kaiju history. So in the 90s, when I did the majority of my childhood, I was born in 85. During the 90s, there was a line of toys from a company called Trendmasters, and they produced trading cards to go with their action figures. Every Godzilla figure you bought came with a trading card. So what I've been doing is I've recreated the old look. I'm not the first one to do it. Other people have been creating new cards for this concept for a while, mostly using other Godzilla monsters that didn't actually exist in the toy line or something like that. But
Yeah,
I've actually taken it. I've replaced the names with Sector 7, with Arkaiju, the
yeah,
art, with our the whole 9 yards. There, I've
yeah.
created something I think that looks very nostalgic and cool for fans.
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, and some concept art here. Oh, I guess this is what a car looks like. Is a modern car or like 50s
So
car or
part of the cool part, the world that, and this was a one of Ron's, I feel like, biggest contributions, because in my mind we just had a futuristic looking world, Blade Runner type stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
just give me a standard sci-fi world. And Ron really took this idea of, well, Rand had this technology, but resources are still scarce. So they're now able to produce all this power and things like that. And they are producing new things, but they also had to repurpose a lot of old things and make them new again. So what you see there is like an old, like 19, I don't know, 40s Oldsmobile, right? That's
yeah,
been retrofitted with this like sort of energy repulsor technology, and it's created this weird look that is just unlike anything. Like some people have called it like diesel or steampunk, and it's really not that. It's really quite different.
Yeah. I can see how people would get the steampunk feel out of it. I was thinking that a little bit myself. But, obviously it's a little bit more than that because it's, or maybe you might say futuristic steampunk, if that could be a thing.
Yeah, it's and like I said, I think that is the. I think it's kind of like in that direction, but I think it's also new at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't see the steampunk vibe from it exactly. I think this is something different.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just this the steampunk vibe comes in some older type looking stuff like the bus and the wagon and the car here, just having all that extra stuff on it that wouldn't if it wouldn't have had on it before, and
For
then
sure.
because most steampunk stuff is supposed to be just a whole bunch of mechanical stuff if I'm right. Well,
Yeah, there's not
mechanicals,
really like gears or anything like that going on. It's
yeah, it,
different.
yeah, it's slightly different. I can see the feel, but it is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, here's your
It's kind of a
character.
group shot. Yep.
Of
Then our
Ryan.
monsters again will be bigger shots of our close up of the monster art, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Which all look phenomenal. And
Yeah.
your
I mean, look at
page.
his line. Look at his freaking line work. I
Yeah.
mean, I could like because we talked about like color. We're gonna have to pay a colorist if we get that. We made color a stretch goal, and that because really he draws the panels so well. I mean, you could get a color. It would look great in color, but you don't need it.
Yeah, that's true. Dillard says, it's NT steampunk, Rick. Read the room. Okay, if you say so, John. I don't know what NT steampunk is, but
I mean, like I think I'm more just protect Ron. Ron kind of shies away from the term steampunk because I think he's pretty proud of what he's created, and
oh yeah.
I'm proud. I'm proud of him, so I tend to uh,
Uh, Back him up.
deflect from the term a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and I get that for sure. This is, but yeah, this artwork is good. There's
Stellar.
yeah, very few artists are I think this good. John there in the chat, Dillard draws. He is as good as this too.
Nice, nice. It's nice to meet you. I think he's phenomenal. I can't understand why. And like you said, it could be eyes, could be a number of things. I think it's very difficult for people to jump onto a new platform. I think Indiegogo had a lot of people. You
Yeah,
know, but Fund My Comic, I think we're just too new. I think
yeah,
we're not getting a lot of ambient track, and I think convincing the Facebook crowd, like the kaiju community, who probably don't have a Fund My Comic account yet, to go into a new site, create an account, fund a book that they're not sure of. It's the first one kind of thing. We're just fighting an uphill battle right now.
yeah. Let's see. JR says Diesel Punk, and then he says,
Yeah, people have said Diesel Punk too. Even then, I
yeah,
feel like those are a little bit grittier. And I don't know. I feel like just it's a little different.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't put my finger on it.
yeah.
Maybe what's
Got to come up with a new name for it.
I don't know, repulsor punk.
Yeah. There's something punk about it, anyways.
Yes.
Techno punk.
I'm not even sure what if anyone can define what the punk and steampunk means, really, but
Yeah.
we'll go with it.
Let's see. JR also says the quality is among the highest I've seen in an indie book.
I appreciate that.
And he says better than most big two books too. And then he says the new name is Diesel Punk. Oh, okay. Cold War Punk.
Just
He says with a question mark.
I'm Cold War Punk. Yeah, I like that. Sure. I'm just gonna change my name to Punk. Matt Punk.
So I'm going way up to the top so we can look at the tiers
All the way up.
quickly.
Sure.
Let people know what they can buy, what they can get for, their monies.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have Feed the Kaiju Fund for $5.
Yeah, that was Ron's idea. It's expensive buying all that kaiju food. So
Yeah,
if you just want to, buy us a coffee, essentially, you can definitely do that. It doesn't get a reward, but it's there, and that helps us keep the lights on, kind of thing.
and JR says, "Oh wow, this is impressive." I guess he didn't see much before, so as I was scrolling up, he was seeing a lot of it. For $7, you can get a digital download of a mini poster, which has one of the kaiju. He asked, do you have a digital kaiju perk? Yeah. I think we'll get to that in a sec, Jr.
So I believe it's the next one, if I remember right.
Yeah. So that's only $7, which isn't, I guess, too bad. That's just a poster, and I guess you can print it out or whatever, or put it on your wallpaper.
Yeah, exactly. That's that. There, you get the digital version of the poster there in high res.
Yeah. And then, of course, the digital download of the Rob Willis cover,
The Rob Willis cover.
which is looking pretty good too. Um, and then the digital download of issue 1, which is what I think he's looking for. He says,
Yes.
I'm working, just ducking in and out. So that's for $9. So that's not too bad. 40 pages. Do you get the all 4 digital versions of each cover?
I'd have to. I think so. I would have to double check with Ron, unless it's in a different level.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't have all the tiers memorized.
Yeah. Well, I just figured because most you're not usually with a digital tier, you're not going to do all 4 as different covers in a
Right.
both covers if I have more than one cover. Because
There we go.
it's a digital version. What does it matter? It's not costing me anything to send it to that extra digital page.
Right. I believe that's the case. I just don't want to stick my foot in my mouth.
Yeah, I get it. I just thought I'd ask just for the heck of it. Leave it to me to ask a question that. So.
No, I'm sure that's what we would do there.
Okay, so Monster Download. Okay, includes all. Includes all 4 covers and both mini posters. Okay. So for $3 more, you get all the covers and both mini posters.
Correct. Yeah.
Straight to your inbox the day the physical copies begin to ship. Not all designs are shown here. So that's cool. And then $15 for a printed issue. Oh, cool. And what are your shipping rates like? Do you know?
I think I want to say it's 10 domestic, and I think I have 20 worldwide right now.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And of course, that's just for the main cover, I guess that would be.
Yeah, I think you can choose. If you scroll down, you can choose which cover you'd like. And all the covers will be in color. They're just those ones haven't been colored yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Like this first one for 15 is the main cover, and then you've got another tier for the second cover, and a third tier for another cover, and finally $20 for the Willis cover.
Yes, the Rob Willis cover.
Rob.
That one, we paid for that out of pocket. Rob Willis is very affordable, but at the same time, I wouldn't call it a
Cheap.
cheap investment for us.
Yeah.
So he's an awesome guy. We're so thankful for him, but yeah, it just that's to help recoup some of the cost of
Yeah.
investing in that.
Which makes sense. And then $50, all 4 covers for $50 plus shipping, of course, which is pretty good. It's the same book 4 times, but still, it's nice to have all 4 covers. But you're also getting a deal because 50.
Foolish man! You forgot to lock your Discord.
No, I didn't. Hey, that is John Dillard. Hey, John.
I'm so excited about this book. I had to come on and talk about it.
Oh, dude, I'm grateful.
Well, so
come on my channel. We'll promote it there too.
Yeah, John's got a great channel. It's definitely worth going.
I have a channel. It's not great.
Hey, you're over 900 subs. Probably getting close to that 1,000 mark. So anything you want to
watches my lives.
Well, let me just go through the rest of these tiers, John, and then you can ask.
Why? You're killing me with these tiers.
Okay. You want to say?
You're killing everybody in the chat with these tiers, Rick.
How am I killing them with the tiers?
You're making me burst into tears with these tiers. You're reading them so boringly.
Okay, here, you read it. You read the last
one. That one is $100. It's for commissioned artwork from Ron himself, and it doesn't have to be related to the book, although it could be. It would just be, hey, get what he'll draw whatever you want at $100. So that's
this book looks dope, and your artist draws dope. And it looks like you dumped
amazing.
A ton of money into making this book. From what I can tell, I've done a campaign or two. It looks like you've dumped, minimum what I'm looking at here. I know Rob Willis's covers ain't cheap. Those things run $1,000 if you want the physical. But at least $500 on that, $600 on that alone. This thing looks like you're in a couple of grand already.
You're right in the ballpark.
Yeah,
you're right in the ballpark. We believe in this book. I know just as a kaiju fan, like I love it. I want to make this movie. You know what I mean? Like that's what we've been talking about for forever. No, so we it's funny. Ron just got back to me. Finally, but he's like, "What show?" And I'm like,
"What? You can send him the link, and he can come on if he wants for however long."
Think of Rick Piper. He lost like 4 pounds, and all of a sudden he wears workout clothes now when he streams. What are you doing, Rick?
Hey, but it's it really is a good product. I believe that.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like arrogant, but I've been writing all my life, like literally. Like my parents, I know this is kind of embarrassing, but when I was in kindergarten and other kids were playing with like Legos and dress up and Lincoln Logs and crap, I was writing Godzilla stories, and my teacher actually laminated them from when I was 5 years old and like would give them to my parents. So I've really been practicing this kind of thing as long as I can remember, and it's just a passion for me personally, and I really want to see it succeed. It's kind of like my baby, as it were.
Yeah, I get that. I have that with my my comics too that I'm creating. What else? Any questions or anything else you want to say, John? Any questions from the chat? Oh, Wrangler.
Are you trying to like wrap up the show? Is that why you keep asking any more questions?
No, I'm trying to get the show to go longer. I don't want to end so soon. Although we've been on.
Well, I got a lot of questions. I just got here. What the hell?
Wrangler says, can't have a great channel without first having a channel. Okay, so
That's true. You got to have a channel before you have a good channel. Then you got to have a good channel before you get great. Get good. Really.
I'm trying.
No, I was sitting there. I was looking at your campaign right now. To me, one of the things I always see a red flag is when somebody springs for a Willis cover. I'm like, oh, somebody sprang for a Willis cover. They're probably trying to make up in some other aspect that they're deficient in. So, and the thing is, I see a lot of those covers. So I scroll up the campaign, and I'm like, wait a minute. No, these are the interiors. This looks good. And then I saw your snake. I was like, oh, I remember this campaign because of the snake on the very top. That image you were showing somewhere else on some other channel. I forget which one it was, but I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this campaign look like promising. I had no idea you had launched. I had no idea. I mean, how long have you been in CG? Or are you in CG? I don't know.
We don't like advertise CG a ton, but we're mostly in those circles. Like, I don't like hashtag Comicsgate really, but like we run in those circles. We're friends with Bunny. We're on Bancroft. I don't get into the. I mean, I think I've.
You don't really get into the political and the drama part of CG.
Right. That's what I'm afraid of, is getting kind of roped into the political nonsense. I've got friends on both sides that I love very much. Friends in the industry. So like, I really do try to be careful with like the drama part of it. And we've seen some weird drama already. We're newbies and we're like, what is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, we I would say like, yeah, Comicsgate has really embraced us overall. I think really tried to give us a hand up for sure.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if I've seen this because I have a hard time meeting new people and remembering their faces and their voices, but I recognize artwork, right? So I'm like, okay, so I know this campaign, I know this project.
We've been on Immortal Rising show. We've been on Luke Stone's show a while back. Like I said, we did Bancroft. I've been on Telepathic Bunny a couple of times with him.
Have you made the rounds yet in the slums?
We did. Oh gosh, Critical Blast recently. So.
Well, obviously Dillard said he's willing to have you on. He's got a great channel. I'd reach out to I am the metal. He'd be probably either willing to have you on or do an interview off air and then post it on his channel. Probably another good one to reach out to is Gospel of Comics. Is it Gospel of Comics? No, Church of Failure. Sorry. Which they have a YouTube channel. They'd probably love to have you on. I can't promise they'll get you any things, but they'll get you exposure.
Well, that's all you can hope for. The thing is, you give somebody your platform and say, "Here is my audience. Sell them your book." You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all. All we're trying to do is just get out there and share stuff, and we're trying to have fun with it as we go. We got a lot of time left, so. Like I said, we believe in the book, so if I don't think this should fail, but if it does, we're gonna regroup, we're gonna try again, and move on to a model that works, whatever that is. So
yeah,
we're gonna figure it out.
Now, one thing I do have a question about is a lot of people have disdain for very popular monster movies. For instance, like I've talked to a couple of people that like monster movies and kaiju stuff, but for some reason they just seem to think that King Kong and Godzilla is too mainstream.
Interesting. Well, are you
really one of these people?
No, I loved King Kong. So one, growing up, I always thought the ending of King Kong versus Godzilla was kind of ambiguous, like the original 1962 one. So, but Toho's official stance, and I think it had a lot to do with the agreement they had back then. King Kong was the bigger monster back then. He had the bigger name. That's kind of changed over the years, but their official stance was Godzilla lost that fight, and I always thought it was nonsense because he pretty much killed Kong in that movie. But Kong got revived through plot armor, and they rolled over a hill and both swam away, but you could only see Kong. So I like King Kong versus Godzilla, or the Godzilla versus Kong, the newer one, because it righted a wrong that I had been waiting literally all my life for, and we got to see Godzilla just knock the crap out of Kong.
But not just that, you got to see him do it 3 times.
Yes. It was like he put the exclamation point on it. I was like, yes. Do not even make it a question that Godzilla lays the smackdown on
Like, you
Kong.
see this hill? You see this hill? I'm the king of this hill. You see that little hill over there? You can go be the king of that hill.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, later, Wrangler. You're probably already gone. Wrangler says, "Gotta run. See ya all around, and keep on creating."
So what is it when you watch a monster movie or when you read a monster story, right? There are these there used to be these memes that came out probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. People would put on Twitter, and they would say something in the neighborhood of like, "What would you do if you saw this?" And it would be like a shadowy figure of Cthulhu, like maybe 20, 30 miles in the distance, looming over the horizon. It looked really creepy, right? And it's those images of seeing something so massive in comparison to something so small that really make the hair on your arm start to rise a little bit. You know, like, ooh, this is going to be good. Or when you see, Kong or Godzilla running down the street and just, one toe of his foot, smashes 2 cars, And so what was it about monster stuff that really got you going?
Gosh, when I was real little, I was probably about 3 when I saw my first Godzilla movie. All I remember was I had a few little like dinosaur type toys, and I understood that they were just really big. And I saw this VHS for Godzilla versus Megalon in my brother's room. I was like, "Oh, that's a big dinosaur. That's even bigger than the ones like the drawings I've seen in books and stuff." And it just inspired, like, there's this sense of awe in me, like that something would be so big and massive and just cool. And I always looked at Godzilla as something beyond, something supernatural. Like I could tell from a very young age, or at least I had this real gut feeling from a very young age that these beasts, there was something special about them. They weren't just your standard animals kind of thing. And that really appealed to me. And it's I don't know, it's just something that stuck with me all my life.
When you were 7 years old, a movie came out that people would think that this movie would do the same thing. It was a great movie, but it just didn't have the same feeling, and that was Jurassic Park. And you would think like, oh my, it's a big monster movie, right? But it didn't have. There's something about the scale of an epic monster that takes all control away from you. You're at the mercy.
Right. And I don't get me wrong, I loved that first Jurassic Park movie. I was still a fan of giant monsters, of dinosaurs, but I wasn't a fanatic of dinosaurs. I was a fan, not a fanatic. And I just I thought that was a really well made movie, and it was a monster movie, but you're right. Like, there's something to me, and this is why the 1998 Godzilla film was so offensive to me. Although it's not the only one that kind of commits this crime, but Godzilla in the 1998 film was killed with conventional weaponry, and that for fans of the genre just didn't fit the character. Like the idea that is these were beyond human control, beyond human power. Whereas the dinosaurs, you could, essentially just get some big machine guns and take them out. They were just animals. But there's always something. It was almost Pacific Rim, I think, said it best. Like there's a monologue in the beginning of the film when it talks about the kaiju, and he's like comparing them to a hurricane or other natural disaster. And I think what makes that movie so cool and the Jaeger so cool is that he says when you get into a Jaeger, you can go fight the hurricane. And I think that comparison between kaiju like Godzilla and these giant, natural disasters really resonated with me too from that movie, just because they're both so inevitable. You can't,
Yes. Yeah.
you can just get out of the way.
That's what killed me about Jurassic Park was that it's like I could see in the beginning of the movie, right? And in the very beginning when it first started, it started off good because they were sitting there and they were throwing these cattle prods or something into this cage, this monster that was in the movie. You knew it was a dinosaur because it had a dinosaur on the logo of the movie, right? But
Sure.
you didn't know you've never seen a velociraptor before in your life. That was the first time it got popular. So it's like you didn't know what was in there. It was a mystery.
Not even an accurate velociraptor either.
Yeah, but who cares? It looked really cool. But you were poking it. You're poking it. It wasn't dying. The guy's it's bringing up. It was Freddy Krueger-esque, right? The guy's getting torn up and down the sides of the cage, the transfer cage. Yep. The guy's holding onto his arm as he's getting basically pulled into a wood chipper, saying "shoot her," and then the shooting that doesn't help. You end up finding out the guy died. You're like, you are terrified, and then you see the monsters, you see the dinosaurs, and they just don't have it. They don't have that it factor.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was a wildly entertaining movie. I think the raptor scene in the kitchen was very suspenseful. Still one of my just favorite sequences in that film. Do I go back and watch Jurassic Park a whole bunch of times anymore? Not really. It was a very good movie. Just you're right; it doesn't invoke that.
But then I thought they did this, and people give them a lot of crap for it. But I thought they did it really well. There's the movie that came out, The King of Monsters, right, where Godzilla fights. What was his name?
Dora.
Gamara. What is it called? The three-headed dragon monster.
King Ghidorah.
Ghidorah, there you go. I was like Gamora, Guardian of the Universe. But when he's fighting them, you see the girl, the family, the human actors, and people say they have nothing to do with the story. They're not important. I say no, it is very important because as these two titans are fighting in the stadium, it doesn't matter what the girl does. That's the whole point of it. You are completely helpless. You gotta all you gotta do is make sure you don't get stepped on because you're not gonna be able to make a difference equivalent to a hill of beans. And that's what I thought was so great about putting those little characters in there. Yeah, we're gonna be doing stuff. We're gonna try to help things along, guide some stuff. But when push comes to shove, get out of the way because you have no control over this.
Yeah, just make sure you don't die.
Right. I actually think King of the Monsters had the strongest human element, other than in the first film in 2014, Godzilla. I thought Bryan Cranston's character was absolutely phenomenal, and they totally shot their foot straight off by killing him in the first act. I couldn't believe when my jaw hit the floor. I was so stunned because they wasted so much time setting him up as your emotional anchor to the film, and then they just pull the carpet out from under you, and you're like, it's like, surprise, he's dead, and it's like, wait, what? Like, oh, and then they didn't really replace him adequately. At least they just sort of follow around his son, who plays this quiet, stoic soldier, and you feel no real connection towards. It's really bizarre.
And I feel like, and when you watch a movie like another movie that came out when you were a little bit older, right? Like Mighty Joe Young. It was almost comical and embarrassing watching him try to hide under a freeway overpass, hiding in the trees, that kind of thing. He was basically just, if you had a large enough caliber gun, you could take out Joe Young. He's not, people are like, oh, it's a monster movie. Not at all. Not at all. It
Yeah, no, and that's why when people talk about kaiju, because the term literally in Japan just means beast or whatnot, or strange beast. Sometimes I see it translated as, and it would be more accurate to refer to these monsters as daikaiju, which is giant beast or giant mysterious creature, that type of thing. But in terms of pop culture, the term kaiju really seems to describe this, Godzilla-sized monsters. And some people will kind of lump Mighty Joe Young in there just because he's a big gorilla. Again, I'm with you. I don't feel that same sense of like awe and wonder and really terror from him.
Yeah.
Because there's this theory that was going around. There's a theory that was going around a while back. People that are into miniatures, right? Now, people that like monster movies, big monster movies, Titan movies, they have an appreciation for miniatures because of the sets and stuff like that. But people are saying that people that are very, very into miniatures, people that like little toys, people that like 1/24th scale, like real small miniatures, wargaming miniatures, stuff like that, they have some sort of a draw to that because it makes them feel in control. Because they feel like maybe when they were younger, maybe they didn't have a lot of control. Maybe they had a very domineering parent or something like that. But it seems like the people that are into the monster movies, which again goes to this other kind of inappropriate theory, like the women, the men that like to be dominated by women are because they are very in control in their life and they want to be in a situation where they're a little bit not in control. Which is kind of like, I feel like the people that do like the big monster movies kind of are that way, where they're very in control people. Very type A personalities. But
that's interesting, actually. That's a very interesting theory. I don't know. I think I've developed more of a type A personality. I would say most of my life I didn't have one. I'm still kind of I would say naturally I'm more of a meek guy, go with the flow. As I've gotten older, I've recognized my need really to become a leader in a variety of ways, whether that's in my home or in my classroom or any of those contexts. So that's an interesting theory, though. I can kind of see it in some circles. Like, there could be some of that going on, but like anything else, I don't know that that would be prescriptive of just the fandom as a whole.
My sketchbook says this is what happens when John's wife leaves her college books next to the toilet.
Man, the hell with you guys.
Sorry.
But what I am going to do is I have to go run because I'm talking to you right now, but it's 104 degrees, so I don't have my air on or my fan on, so I can actually have a conversation. But I'm going to go get back to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the link to my Twitter in Rick's chat here. And if you want to hit me up, maybe we can schedule a meet for so we can promote your book.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with you, John. I appreciate you.
I will also get John's Twitter and send you it in your Sector 7 Twitter.
Now, would you be willing, if I throw your name out to some people, would you be willing to go on some other shows like in the CG Slums, or is that too much drama controversy for you?
I'll be honest. I'm so naive. I don't even know what. I've been on a variety of shows. The only thing I'm going to be real. It's more of an issue for me than Ron. I've been on a couple of shows where there was like a lot of like, women or like being shown kind of thing. I know this sounds weird. I'm just from I don't look at images of like half naked women as a rule. I try to avoid that, but I understand that being in these circles, I'm going to be exposed to some of that. So that's my only thing I'm a little hesitant about, or anything that's like overtly. Obviously, I'm more. I would say I'm more conservative when it comes to my circles and beliefs. I think that's pretty fair to say. But anything that would delve really far into some sort of extremism, I would probably try to stay away from.
Yeah, I'm not asking this guy to become a Satanist.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have a habit of over-explaining, so I apologize.
No, I get it. No, it's no problem at all. But I gotta get. I'm fucking sweating. I'm sorry. I'm sweating. I gotta get. I gotta go. I gotta put my air on back on.
Okay.
But it's been great. It's been great talking to you, Rick. I'll see you in September.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see each other on my channel before then.
No.
No. Well, one thing before you go. My sketchbook says, John's avatar keeps winking at me. I feel uncomfortable.
I mean, I can't help the way you feel. You know.
It's true.
Yes.
But I am winking at you.
Okay, I guess you're taking off, John?
Yes, sir.
Well, you want to promote anything? I know it's his show, but you want to promote anything before you take off?
Yeah, there's another campaign over on Fund My Comic that just showed up there. It's about kaijus. Keep talking about it, Rick. Don't be talking about other stuff. Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, now I need to.
I like him. He's a cool dude.
Oh yeah, John is a great guy. I can't really say anything too much bad about John. Sometimes he can be a bit of an idiot, but then we all can be at times too, right?
Yep, that's right. I most certainly have been. That's for sure.
But he's been a great friend to me over the years too. So I'm just trying to get you so people can see you properly now. That's the thing. The whole Discord ratio changes when you get more people in or less people. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely get me his. Or I can go look him up on Twitter or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure whether you were able to look up my channel where we're on. He did put the link in the chat there, but like I said, I will also send you his Twitter. In fact, let me do that right now while we're
the on-air channel. All I see is Eddie Geek Studios and Jibber Jabber.
Okay. Let's see, Dillard. Okay. Sector 7. There, on Twitter in the Sector 7 thing, I just sent you a link to his.
Perfect. I've got it. You go ahead and follow him real quick right now.
He could have turned the air on Sketchbook. I wouldn't have had no problems with him.
No. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's...
yeah. The project sounds real good. Hopefully at the beginning of the month, or end of the month, beginning of the month, when I might have some more money, I'm hoping to at least get the digital tier. Probably the digital tier because you know the exchange rate, how bad it is. Or maybe you don't between Canada and States, but unfortunately, all that money adds up quickly.
Hey, I completely understand. I single dad. I take care of my kids. I work several jobs to make that happen. So I get it. Money is difficult, for sure.
Yeah. Anything else that you would like to say before we end? You want to give the elevator pitch or however you want to word it? Besides, go buy it.
yeah, basically, go buy it. You want your money? No, I'm just kidding. No, just we definitely appreciate everyone out there. We just hey, if you like what you see, please go give us a shot. we would really appreciate it. We do have a couple of trailers if you.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that.
do that.
Here. I take these off. I'll get at least one trailer. Discord and browser. There we go. Up here. Okay, let's.
It's our second.
Okay, not sure if there's where the other trailer is.
Oh, I can shoot you a link.
Okay.
Let me grab that link for you. Or should I put that right in the chat here?
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. Oh, you're yeah, you're gonna do it on Discord chat. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Visit site. Okay. Okay, no thanks. Okay. We just need to change some things over here for the browser. Which means over here, browser. Oh, no, not that one. Firefox there. Let's go to Firefox. Let's make this big.
Access granted.
Okay.
I can't believe it worked.
Oh.
Doing this once a day helped me sing.
Okay. Let's go back to other things. Yeah, I guess that's it. Whoa. I'm gonna be an idiot. Why did Dylan say he's gonna be an idiot? Okay. Oh, that's. There we go. Okay, so there's the trailers, and I guess unless you have anything else you would like to say or whatever, I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, no, I feel like we said a lot, and appreciate Dillard coming on and adding to that, and just making a great conversation. But oh, just for anyone out there listening, if you like what you've seen, we could just really use the support out there and gaining some momentum. So
Yeah.
just a like and a follow and a share.
Yeah. And again, thank you for coming on. Thank Telepathic Money for coming on. Thank Dylan for coming on. Thank everybody in the chat for coming by and watching. Go support these guys. All us indie creators need whatever help we can get. Even if it's just to go over there and share it out. That can help because maybe you can't buy, but maybe somebody that you share it out to can.
Yeah, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. We're on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Inside Sector 7. The at symbol inside Sector 7.
Yeah. And the Twitter link for Sector 7 is in the chat, in the description, as well as the Fund My Comic link. And if you, on Twitter, if you send me the link to your YouTube channel, I will end up putting that in the chat too, or in the description for people who watch after we're done. So again, I guess that's it for now. We'll see everybody back here tomorrow for high noon, where I'm going to probably be doing some fan art drawing, and it'll probably either be of Sector 7 or it'll be of Telepathic Bunny, or maybe a combination of both. Put his character somehow with the kaiju there. So
Thank you very much.